breather for a sec?
Sure.
I'm like in a rush. I don't know why. Sorry.
Because you just rushed back from getting your stuff.
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah. Sorry, I'm really out of it today. But okay. Yeah, I'm ready. I guess not. I'm not.
There you go.
So today, in 2012 alone, there are 13,300,000 legal permanent residents immigrants living in America, meaning that there are 13,300,000 people living as a permanent in U.S. If we add the illegal immigrants, we can imagine the number of how many people in U.S. as immigrants. And as of today, I wanted to highlight you the disadvantages of living as an immigrant in the U.S. I myself is part of this number. I came here 2003, 10 years ago, and I think I carefully assume that some of you guys are immigrants. I take a guess. And I thought it was something I could talk about as myself and relate to you guys. Disadvantages might sound general and kind of over the head, but then I'm about to attack this like in 3 points as a kind of cultural aspect of especially language-wise, and practical aspects, kind of becoming a citizen, the paperwork that you might have to go through, and lastly, stereotypes. So this is Theodore Roosevelt, 26th President of America, and he says something like this. Every immigrant who comes here should be required within 5 years to learn English or leave the country. I actually have another quote. This is the longer one, but in the first place, we should insist that if the immigrant who comes here in good faith becomes an American and assimilates himself to us, he shall be treated on an exact equality with everyone else, for it is an outrage to discriminate against any such man because of creed or birthplace or origin. But this is predicated upon the person's becoming in every facet an American, and nothing but an American. There can be no divided allegiance here. Any man who says he is an American but something else also isn't American at all. We have room for but one flag, the American flag. We have room for but one language here, and that is the English language. And we have room for but one sort of loyalty, and that is a loyalty to American people. He's throwing out bold statements. As you can see, language is something. Like if Theodore saw today's society, I think he would have got really pissed. Because, like as you can see, we're multi-ethnic cultural diversity, as you can see. And the part of thing why I wanted to talk about kind of language is, I mean, I grew up here. I came here at elementary. I went to junior high. I went to high school. And something I noticed that is that they have a poor English learning system or development. Like elementary, I was 6th grade. It's funny because I came here straight like when I was 6th grade, and they expect me to know words like all these things, and it's like natural. Like I don't know what to do. It's like I don't know any of these. Like every immigrant who comes, I don't know any of these words, and they just expect me to like kind of know it, and like they're teaching me not the basic stuff, but how to develop reading skills. Writing skills, things like that. So I had to take it very hard way, learning language, and that continued throughout my junior high school. The ESL system is very poorly, I think, developed in America, and I thought it was really disadvantaged and difficulties. That's something I had to go through as I'm living in this country. Next slide. So. I mean, I stick through with that. I'm cool with that, I push myself. But obviously, there's this thing called legalizing. And it's nothing big, but it's that we have to be accepted as an American, It's something that we have to go through. And next slide. This is the U.S. Immigrant Center. I think I've been here like 10 times. There's one in LA, there's one in Santa Ana. paperwork that I had to go through. Just to show you guys a little bit, this is my green card. To earn this thing, I had to earn visa first from Korea, student visa, travel visa, whatever. And then you can't apply for a green card unless you have ties to a family in America, meaning that your mom or dad is citizen, or someone else you're living with is citizen, or some kind of like tie connection to America. And this is not what I have to go through to apply for citizenship. It's like 20-page paper, and I had to live for America at least 7 years. On top of that, this most pissed me off the most. I had to pay $657 just for the application and applying to the immigrant center. So I don't even know what the heck I'm paying for, and it's like I have to pay to become a citizen to be part of you guys per se. So I thought that was kind of, and it's it's difficult as someone who doesn't know the culture here or well. Everything has to be like paid. Everything has to process. Everything has to be very concisely explained. So it's like I had to go through a lot of interviews. I had to answer a lot of questions. It's like I didn't do anything, but I'm feeling guilty. It's like I had to know political stuff. So yeah, I thought it was very like difficult and some disadvantage I had as just being a foreigner. And after that, I'm still cool with that. I got that, and I wanted to continue to live here, so I applied for citizenship. I am applying for citizenship, and I earned my green card. And it comes down to, as you guys all know, the stereotypes. And this is something I go through no matter what happens. I think you guys might some have stereotypes, and some of the questions I get, like, where are you from? Fullerton? Cyprus? And they ask me another question. Where are you from? And I'm like, what do you mean? Fullerton? And like, I had to ask the same thing, but obviously they're seriously asking me where I'm from. And I had to explain like, I'm from Korea, but now I'm currently living in Fullerton, things like that, yada, yada, yada. And there's this question I frequently get, are you illegal? I don't even know what this means. I don't know, am I legal? Legal as a person? Like, what do you mean? And I thought this offended me a lot every time people ask, and I have to answer. And I thought stereotypes are very disadvantage of people that we have, because every time you apply for jobs or talk to people, this is something you have to explain every time. It's like there's no human connection whatsoever to these questions. As you can see the pictures, I can actually see you, like I have that color, like things like that. Stereotypes it's just hard to deal with, and something disadvantage as having as an immigrant, and something obviously I have to go through. And so yeah, these are the things that I just wanted to talk about with you guys, and those are the things, languages, the practical stuff, paperwork, and the stereotypes are the things that I had to go through, and then the 1,300 and 3,000 millions people are going through. And it's something I think we should be informed about, or we should know about, and therefore, yeah, maybe it's something that we need to open up, kind of soften our hearts for these immigrants out there. Thank you.
All right, Maddie, tell us what you thought.
I thought it was really good. I really liked the topic that you chose, only because you're so familiar with it. I didn't really hear a lot of sources, but based on, because this is an experience that you've lived through for a while, I don't really think that you needed to research it a whole lot. I love the visual aids that you have. I love that one right there, just because it's so powerful. All in all, I thought it was really solid.
All right, well, I like the statistic that you used to get the audience's attention. I thought you had a very clear statement of what your goal was for the speech. There's also a pretty good preview of what the structure is going to be. In the body of the speech, as you're going through the structure, you usually depend on the visuals to make the transitions, and I think you need to maybe make the transitions a little bit more with your own stories and the supporting material that you're going to use. I do think that you are dependent a lot on your personal experience, which is probably the first place that you want to go, of course, because that's what you're interested in talking about, and that's what people will be able to relate to. But you need to be able to generalize a little bit more. And after we get the early numbers on the number of immigrants that are here, and other than maybe the fee that you have to pay, I didn't really get much information in the speech. I've got your personal criticism of the English as a second language system in the schools. I bet there's plenty of information out there that suggests that what you've said is correct, and you should be able to back it up without having to just rely on your own experience, which could be integrated in the presentation, but like I said, should be supplemented with some other material. The historical information about what Roosevelt wanted, I thought that was kind of interesting. What's at odds with what's going on today concerns whether or not we want those same standards, or we need those same standards. There's some question about whether or not it matters. Like at the end when you're talking about the questions, well, where are you from, where are you from, where are you from? It seems like you gave a pretty good example about that, although if people know that you're an immigrant, I think the question seems like it's an innocuous one. It's not an innocuous one if people don't know that. Then I think there is an issue that's going on there, and then the stereotyping thing applies to that. The idea of tying language together, do we still have the same requirement about learning language in order to get citizenship, for instance? Is it more than just filling out paperwork and paying your fee? We don't get any discussion of that. Why does it matter whether or not you're a citizen? Why don't you just live here with a green card the rest of your life? Is there any difference in what your circumstances are? Those would be some of the things that just kind of jump up and said, that's where we need a little bit more information that's going on. The visuals are fine. I think that the last one appears to have had quite an impression on people, so that's nice. You want to get rid of the big pages in your hand while you're speaking and try and use either nothing or very small cards and very few of them so that you were talking to us. But I thought you did a pretty good job talking to us. That's mostly because it is your personal experience that you're using so much. Okay. Thank you.